हम होंगे कामयाब. That's our national anthem of FSCI. Coming on to today's, this is the third series of the Bust the Myths in Fire Safety, and topic of today's workshop is fast tracking fire safety in India, in our Indian homes. And today I am really excited, because this is going to be our all women panel discussion. Before that, I would like to invite upon our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Sunil Keswani. Keswani sir is a medical director and HOD in for the Burns Hospital. He's a HOD of plastic surgery, and he is the director in the National Burns Cancer Center in Navi Mumbai. A brief intro about him: he has been a past president of Indian Medical Association. He has been a district officer in Rotary. He has been representative for Southeast Asia for the ISBL, and some of the important milestones wherein he has been a key role player is commissioning the National Burn Centers, which is the first dedicated state-of-the-art burn care facility in India. He has commissioned more than 10 skin banks across the country. He has commissioned the first skin regeneration lab and research facility at the National Burn Center. And there are a lot of lists to tell. He is a recipient of several orientations. Dr. Bhimdas Bilwani Oration of National Academy of Burns, NABI. He has been associated with various key organizations in the country. And without much further, I would like to hand over the dais to our keynote speaker today, Dr. Sunil Keswani.
Very good evening to you all, friends. It's indeed a pleasure to be invited to speak at such an august association with such a lovely theme song. Very inspiring song, very lilting music. Good start to a nice evening. I hope the presentation that I've already recorded and sent to Ms. Kinnari Menon would say all that I have to say. And at the end of it, if time permitting, we could field some questions. May I hand over back the mic to the anchor person, please, or Kinnari, whoever takes over from now.
Thank you, sir. Harsha, can you please play the video?
Good evening, friends. First aid, primary management and rehabilitation in burns. This presentation comes to you from the National Burn Center, Airoli, Navi Mumbai. What is a burn injury? A burn injury is usually a heat injury to the skin. It is extremely painful and expensive and takes a long time to heal. In India, 80% of burn victims are children and women. About 25% of the total number of burn accidents are caused by hot liquids like milk, tea, water, and oil. Many of these burn accidents occur due to clothes catching fire from diyas, that's lamps and candles on the floor. What do you do if your clothes catch fire? You have to pour water. If water is not available, only then wrap a blanket or thick cloth or gunny bag to extinguish the flames. Stop, drop, and roll wherever you are standing. Never run. If you run, you'll fan the flames, give more oxygen, and the flames will become more than before. What happens and what do you do when you get fire in your house? You raise an alarm. Call the fire brigade on 101. You run out of the house. Never re-enter the house to pick up valuables or whatever you think is valuable at that point in time. Don't wait to collect your dresses, bags, books, and other items. Your life is more important. What do you do if there's a fire in a tall building? Use the stairs for coming down. Never use the lift. Always use fire exit. If you use the lift or elevator, you may get trapped inside and perish. What do you do if you're trapped in a smoke-filled room? Just crawl to a safe area. Cover your nose and mouth with a wet cloth to avoid the fumes and the smoke from entering your nose and causing smoke inhalation. What do you do if there's a leakage in a gas cylinder? Close the cylinder valve and burn a knob. Open the doors and windows. Ventilate the room. Do not touch any of the electrical switches, otherwise you might create a bigger fire. If there are kitchen accidents, how do you avoid them? Always wear apron, don't wear loose clothes. The ends of your sari have to be tucked, the pallu has to be tucked in. Use the kitchen tongs to pick up hot vessels, not the pallu of your sari. Tie the hair nicely, it should not be flowing freely and can catch fire. Cooking preferably should be done on a kitchen platform or a table. If the kerosene is not properly stored, friends, it could be a fire hazard. In the event of an electric fire or shock, what do? Never pour water on electric fire. Turn off the main switch. Put sand or use dry wooden stick. Plug point should be out of reach of children. Now, in the case of serious burns, once you have a burn victim nearby, what do? Cover the patient who sustained burns with a dhobi washed cloth and transport him to the nearest hospital dealing in burns. Do not give anything to eat, only a little water to drink because the patient generally is thirsty. Remove the jewelry as there will be swelling near the burn area. So rings, bangles ought to be removed because later on it will be difficult for the doctors to remove. What are the best first aid for burns? Pouring water over the burn surface till the burning sensation subsides is the best first aid. Pour water till the sensation subsides. That's the motto that we are trying to promote as best first aid. Cool down the burned area. The affected part of the body is to be kept submerged in water for 4 to 6 hours to withdraw the heat, and thus it decreases the superficial burn from becoming deep. Do not apply ice, Colgate, toothpaste, haldi, ink, or cow dung because this interferes with the doctor's judgment of the burn and may cause infection. How do you assess a burn? Now, there are essentially 3 degrees of burns. This is your normal healthy skin with epidermis, dermis, and the subcutaneous tissue. If only the epidermis is burnt, it's called first degree burn. If the epidermis and dermis is burnt, it's called second degree. And if your subcutaneous tissue is also burnt, it's called the third degree burn, which is very deep. How are burns classified? Essentially, according to the cause of the burn. If it's due to hot liquids, it's called scalds. If it's due to a fire, it's called a flame burn. If it's due to concentrated acids or alkalis, it's called a chemical burn. Electrical burns can be due to low voltage, high voltage. That's about 1000 volts becomes high voltage, and lightning burns. Or there may be radiation burns. As I said, 3 degrees of burns, first, second, and third degree. There are certain examples of the degree of burn. This is a first degree burn. There's only redness of the part. This is a second degree burn where you find a few blisters and you find a little red area and a little whitish area. And this is the third degree. This is a deep second degree burn where there are certain more whitish areas, more extensive burn. And this is a third degree burn where the skin looks completely charred. It's black here and it's blackish here. This will definitely require grafting and major surgery. The surgeries are required for major burns, and we will come to a case at the end of it to exemplify how the surgeries are done. Now, what is skin donation? Skin and eyes can be donated only after death within 6 hours. The age of the donor should be above 18 years. There's no upper limit. The oldest patient whose skin we harvested was 93 years old, and this skin was successfully used to save the life of a young patient. This skin is grafted on burn patients. This skin from the skin bank helps in faster healing and helps save lives. Skin can be preserved in the skin bank at 4 to 6 degrees centigrade in 85% glycerol for a period of 5 years. Why is donated skin needed and who needs it? This skin is used in burn patients as a cost-effective temporary dressing. It is also used in diabetic wounds, in trophic ulcers, in varicose ulcer wounds, in road traffic accident wounds, in orthopedic trauma, and in certain skin diseases where the skin comes off. This skin proves to be life-saving. This skin lessens the hospital stay, increases the survival rate, reduces the pain, reduces the cost of treatment as patient heals faster, and decreases infection significantly, so less antibiotics are required. Physical rehabilitation in the form of physical therapy or physiotherapy is a very, very important and integral part of burn management. And after the burn, while the burn treatment is going on, regular physiotherapy the patient has to undergo to keep the limbs moving, otherwise they become stiff. Splints are provided like these, what you see in the lower two pictures, which maintain the function. Otherwise the patient can land up with serious debilitating functional deformities. These are certain methods which can help decrease the scar formation. Silicone gel sheet can be used, or pressure garment, these special dresses made of medical grade lycra, which provide very high pressure, which can prevent the scars from thickening or forming hypertrophic scars or keloids. Psychological support is extremely important to reduce the patient's post-traumatic symptoms and increase functional independence. A comprehensive rehabilitation program is required, and this is present at the National Burn Center at Airoli. Burn rehabilitation is not something which is achieved by one or two individuals, but this has to be a team approach, incorporating the patient, and when appropriate, their family also has to be involved. We've also got the concept of burn survivor group in Mumbai at the National Burn Center, where the burn survivors are brought together and their problems are discussed open. They get a chance to discuss with each other and they give suggestions to each other. A counselor is present at such a meeting, and also we have a physical therapist present. So most of the problems are related to psychological issues and physical movements and function. Thus, I think we realize that the aim of counseling is to assist the patients to attain maximum participation in employment and community life through appropriate assessment, counseling, service provision, and support. Now, this is an exemplary case where we demonstrate what surgeries can do and how patients can be rehabilitated completely. This is a 9-year-old boy who had an electrical contact burn while playing with a steel rod. The steel rod touched a high-tension cable wire above his house, and the current went through his body and over his terrace. And burns happened over both upper extremities, both lower extremities, and abdomen. We did some procedure, something which is known as the emergency fasciotomy, which was done. The skin was split open in a surgical manner under anesthesia to release the tension because the parts swell up. But we could not save his right leg and both upper extremities. The right leg had to be amputated above the leg, above the knee, with surrounding muscle and full thickness skin flap. And both the upper extremities, we had to perform an amputation at the shoulder level. But in spite of this, he healed beautifully. And this is the stumps, the surgical stumps of the knee, above knee amputation. This is the abdomen well healed. And here you have our patient Tushar playing about with football with his friends. He had a myoelectric prosthesis provided by a reputed company which provides prosthesis, and he was able to play football. Look at his motivation, look at his passion. His upper extremities, we still have to provide the prosthesis. So first the lower extremity prosthesis so that he starts moving around. That's what he started doing. And then the upper extremity prosthesis will come later on. This is a small video that we showed to you where you see Tushar in action. So friends, burns is easy to manage, but ideally burns need to be prevented. It is definitely there that ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. This aphorism is absolutely applicable to burn. And one must ensure that these burns do not happen because they're debilitating, expensive, and troublesome. Take a long time to heal and leave scars. Sometimes you're without limbs, but do not lose hope. With good and appropriate treatment and timely treatment, you can be treated well, you will survive, and you can be rehabilitated completely, as you saw in the case of Tushar. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Sunil sir. Dr. Sunil, this was really nice of you to give us your valuable time. Out of your really tight schedule, we know the kind of situations you deal daily, and still giving us this your valuable time. We would like to hear just a few words from you, or and then we
I think, Mr. Parag, we are both in the same boat. We are both on the same sides of the team, and essentially our aims and goals are the same. You are the ones who are making all the attempts to prevent these kind of burns and accidents and disasters. And indeed, we are extremely grateful that there's an association like yours, FSAI, Fire and Security Association of India, where you are making a concerted, concentrated, intensive attempt to ensure that less and less of these accidents happen. At least the preventable ones do not happen, and the ones which happen, the degree is not so severe to cause loss of life and limb. So we must continue to work together, and together we can change lives. Thank you.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your words of wisdom. And with this, I would like to call Mr. Saurav Chattopadhyay. Saurav, just a brief about Saurav. He is a marketing development manager for the temperate division in Lubrizol, and a gold medalist in post-graduation of management studies, and having a 20 years of working experience at various levels in Lubrizol for South Asia and Middle East. Saurav, we would like to invite you for the technical session.
Thanks, Parag. I'd like to share my screen. So you need, yeah. Just give me a yes if you can see the screen that I've shared.
Okay, we can see your screen.
Okay. Thanks a lot, FSCI. And let me welcome you all to the third masterclass. And let me be very honest. Generally, we talk about hydrants, sprinklers, foams, pumps, detection in a forum like this. We seldom speak about the most obvious human effect in the aftermath of fire, the burn. It reminded us once again why fire should never ever be taken lightly. And it's time to fast track the fire protection system. Thank you, doctor. This was really an eye-opener for me. Let me be very honest. Some of the photos I saw, it really shook me, especially the ones which was the second and third degree burn. So no, let's never take fire too lightly. With this small thought, let me just begin the technical part of the session. We are a data-driven world today, and we all know that today internet and media is flooded with data. In fact, it won't be wrong for me to say that today, most of us know why Virat Kohli is scoring a duck than Virat Kohli himself. Today, we know the cure to any kind of COVID than most of the doctors, thanks to the deluge of data, and most of it actually makes no sense to us. So for that very reason, what I've done right now is I have curated from this deluge, and I want to present to you 2 or 3 very relevant and pertinent information about fire incidents. Okay, now one of the things that we see here on this template is the number of fire incidents in India and the number of deaths. These are no small figure. 1.6 million fire incidents in India per year, causing almost more than 27,000 deaths. And this is, in fact, my friends, this is the highest in the world. I mean, even it is more than the more populous and bigger country than us, China. And not to mention a still bigger count of injuries and burns. So these are just the death figures. The figures for burns and injuries will be still higher than this. Now, do we know that out of this, out of this figure of 1.6 million fires and so many deaths, more than half of them are residential fires and home fires. Yes, media will cover the COVID hospital fires, the new market in Kolkata fire, the Ufar fire incident that we have been hearing for last 20 years. It will come on the front pages, but the millions of residential fire, the fire in our homes generally never get see the print of the newspaper. They may never also come in your WhatsApp forwards. If you probe a bit deeper, you will realize that whatever be the reason for the fire, we see some more data here. Careless smoking caused 4187 fires. This data is for the state of Telangana, for that matter. And these are the number of electrical fires, the fires that originated out of electrical short circuit or electrical malfunction. But what is more important is for us to understand that the fire became fatal because the fire protection system infrastructure was either inadequate, or even if it was there, the fire protection infrastructure actually failed. The sprinklers did not burst, the pumps didn't start, or the detectors didn't detect. And most importantly, the untrained occupants, they panicked. And out of this panic, there must have been a stampede or someone jumped out of the window. These are the videos we keep on seeing on the Facebook and WhatsApp. Now, so these are actually very sad figures, but I'm not here to paint a very sad picture out of you. I'm here to give you a solution. Okay, fire had happened yesterday, and let us, I mean, we all know fire will happen today, and tomorrow also there will be fires. It will continue to happen. And especially when the buildings and the industry are getting more and more complex. So let us see, rather than focusing on the negativity of the data, let us extract some positivity out of it and see how we can fast track the fire protection system in India. What you see right now are 5 images on the screen on the top. Okay, now the first image that you see, I mean, this is something we all have seen at our sites. It shows one of the most important, unique culture and ethos of India. That ethos is, we really don't love safety belts at our site. You will see a lot of our workmen not putting on a safety belt and helmet at site in Mumbai, Chennai, and places. And the reason what we give is that it's too hot. Kafi garmi hota hai idhar. Now this, the same Indians, when we go to Doha or Dubai, you will never see them not wearing a safety belt or a helmet. On a note, I have put the, many of us, including myself, I must have done it some time. We don't remove the plastic seat for which after we purchase a car. Unfortunately, the same thing for the newly installed sprinkler systems. We don't remove the cover over the sprinkler systems. So these are all unique culture and ethos of India, which needs for us to get more serious about fire. I am aware that FSCI is doing a very wonderful job of creating a culture of safety and their Surakshit Bharat Abhiyan. I look forward to hear more on that in the subsequent panel discussion, wherein we can see how the FSCI is doing a wonderful job of changing the mindset of people and making India more conscious. But then there are a few, for organizations like Lubrizol, we too can fast track the fire protection system in India. We can help you modernize the fire protection infrastructure. We can bring the global best practices in India, and we can give you some products which will make the installation and maintenance most easy. After all, we also want to see our workmen wearing a safety helmet and wearing a safety belt in India. Friends, welcome to BlazeMaster. BlazeMaster is the world's most specified non-metallic fire protection system. It is installed across 60 countries, including India. Now, BlazeMaster is a BIS certificate, BIS certified, and it is listed with UL. And you can use it for all light hazard applications. It is 6 to 7 times lighter than steel. Thus, the installation becomes very easy and you can fast track your projects. It is hydraulically superior to steel. It has a Hazen-Williams C factor of 150. Thus, you can downsize the pipes and you can promote a culture of fire safety by making everyone adopt to fire protection system, because one of the biggest myths that we all have is fire protection system is very costly. It does not corrode. So what happens is the maintenance become easier because you really don't need to maintain a pipe which does not corrode. And most importantly, BlazeMaster doesn't require welding. So it removes the complexity out of any kind of fire protection pipe installation. So once the installation is easy, once the installation is simple, you can save a lot of time and you can surely fast track the fire protection system in India. One of the biggest myths which I want to bust, which we have been trying to bust for quite some time, is many of you must be believing that BlazeMaster is CPVC, so it melts when it comes in contact with fire. Nothing can be a bigger myth than that. I'll just quickly run a 1-minute video to bust this myth and show why BlazeMaster does not melt. I'm sorry, you will not get audio here because when I was trying to share the file, I forgot to click the audio button, but audio is not required because the video itself is self-explanatory. This is actually a fire test done in accordance to the UL standards, wherein in a test lab, a fire sprinkler system with BlazeMaster pipe is set up and a fire is set up as per UL guidelines. I'll not speak beyond this. You please go through the video and go with a lot of attention, because there is a quiz after this. Might be one of the quiz question will have something from this. In simple words, CPVC BlazeMaster does not melt because it has a limiting oxygen index of 6060. In simple word, it means that you require 60% oxygen in the atmosphere for this pipe to melt, which is not there, unfortunately or fortunately, because our atmosphere never has more than 20 to 21% oxygen level. So, thus by adopting to advanced material like BlazeMaster CPVC pipes, you can surely fast track your fire protection system in India. These are lighter pipes, easy to install, no welding, so installation is quick, better hydraulics. You can benefit from a material which is actually invented in 20th century, and it does not corrode. I'll take 1 more minute, friends. I want you to give me all your undivided attention. Why? Maybe because one of the answers to the quiz that is coming here might be from this section. Lubrizol is a global specialty chemical company owned by Mr. Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway Group, along with a basket of complex specialty chemicals that improve the quality and performance of industrial and consumer products, of medical products and equipments, of beauty and wellness products, and of surface coating. We are also the inventors of CPVC. We invented CPVC in 1958, and as it stands today, BIS has explicitly permitted usage of CPVC in all fire protection application which comes under light hazard. Along with BlazeMaster, we have FlowGuard Plus, the world's largest selling plumbing pipes, and Corzen, which is world's leading piping material for industrial and process application. With this, friends, I thank you all for your attention. It's time now to reward you for your attention you have paid in the last 10-12 minutes. I request the moderator to display the quiz questions one by one. So there will be 4 awards, my friends, up for grabs. The first winner gets rupees 5,000 rupees gift voucher. Second winner gets rupees 3,000 rupees gift voucher. Third and fourth is 2,000, 1,000 respectively. There will be 5 MCQ questions. You need to click the correct answer. The faster you click, the higher your chances of winning. So this is the first question. Get ready on your mobile or system and type in the answers as soon as possible. Who are the inventors for CPVC material? You have got 4 options. Next question, please. According to most statistics, residential fire accounts for approximately what percentage of fire incidents globally? So you have got 4 choices: 30, 35, 50, 55. Not a very difficult quiz, right, my friends? Next question, please. Please read this carefully. Take some time, maybe a minute, and answer this question. Why BlazeMaster pipes do not ignite, burn, or melt when it is exposed to fire? Right, we'll go to the 4th question now. Does BIS 15105-2021 allow use of BlazeMaster CPVC fire protection pipes? I think we should not have put this question. It's a very simple answer. Right? Coming to the last question. I hope this is not so simple as the fourth one. Which of the following statements is false for BlazeMaster? Right? So that will be all. I hope you have participated and enjoyed the quiz as much as, I'll not use the word enjoyed, but it was an eye-opener. Doctor's video was an eye-opener for us, and it was a great learning for us. So with this, I hand over back to Parag for the one of the most important part of this series, the panel discussion.
Thank you, Saurav.
Everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Saurav, for giving us a quick insight on the solutions offered by BlazeMaster.
Thank you.
I would now moving towards our next topic, that is panel discussion, fast tracking fire safety in India. And I am really excited to tell that this is an all women panel discussion today, what we are having. And I would like to invite our moderator, Miss Kinnari Menon. She is our chairperson for Surakshit Nari program in Mumbai chapter, and CEO director at Fjordman LLP. She is a master's in degree and 30 years of working experience in our industry, and she is our very active dear member in our Mumbai chapter. Over to you, Kinnari Menon. Ma'am, please introduce yourself and your entire panel today, who is going to, I'm pretty sure I know the panel, so I can tell, they are one of our, they are our industry leaders, women industry leaders who are going to be the panel, discussion members. Kinnari ma'am. Kinnari ma'am, you're on mute. You need to unmute.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Thank you, Parag. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to first thank Mumbai chapter for giving me this opportunity to moderate this panel discussion, consisting of some eminent and successful panelists. I must put on record probably that this must be the first ever all-women panel discussion in India. Especially on the fire safety topics. Thank you, FSCI. Thank you, Lubrizol, for recognizing and contributing to this cause. As you all know, FSCI has last year started Surakshit Nari program. And this exclusive panel discussion is in continuation with the various programs already conducted under this umbrella towards women empowerment. Fire safety as a topic gets different treatments from different stakeholders in India. But commonly, fire safety is not given that importance in our day-to-day life. Every fifth fire-related deaths across the world is from India. Globally, there are 9 million fire incidents recorded, out of which 1.6 million fire incidents are recorded in India. This is the way which shows that India is addressing fire safety. There is a chalta hai attitude for fire and life safety, which is what we need to address. Earlier in the presentation given by Dr. Keswani, he had shown us what is the repercussions for treating this fire so casually. Friends, it is time we change this approach. We need to start practicing safety in our day-to-day life. There is a need to fast-track fire safety in India. That is precisely the topic for the day. Let me take this opportunity to introduce the eminent panelists. Harsha, can we have the panelists on the screen, please? Yeah, my first panelist is Miss Harshni Kanhekar. Miss Harshni is one of the first fire officers who had graduated from the National Fire Services in the year 2002. She had joined ONGC in 2006 and has been working there for the last more than 15 years. She is a hardcore uh, drawing paint. She is a hardcore biker traveler. She likes to draw, paint, listen to music. So she's a overall. She has an overall personality, a very well-rounded personality. She has received many awards, something like Hirkani Awards, Bhimman, Abhiman Award, Gaurav Sakhi, Prahar Bhushan, and many more to count. We are very, very honored to have you, madam, on the panel. The next panelist is Miss Ranjana Shah. Miss Ranjana is a very well-known person in this industry. I don't think she needs much introduction. So I would just briefly say that she is the director of New Fire Engineers. She has dedicated her 35 years of life in this fire system, fire safety industry. And she is active in converting use of environmental friendly inert gas and water mist systems. And she took lead in promoting new technologies and systems in India. Welcome, Ranjana ma'am. The next panelist for us is Ms. Sheetal Bhilkar. Okay, we have Koyeli here. Okay, Koyeli Dutt. Koyeli Dutt is again a person who is known in our industry very well. She is the managing director of Technico India Private Limited, one of the oldest fire protection companies in East India. Technico is a system integrator providing fire detection, alarms, and protection systems and installations throughout the country. She is a fire protection engineer, graduated from the University of Maryland at College Park. She is also the Secretary of Kolkata Chapter once and the National Treasurer for FSCI from 2015 to 17. Right now, she is a very active member of the Calcutta chapter. She is also the chairperson for the Women's Wing, All India Women's Wing of FSAI. We welcome you, Koyeli ma'am, on this panel discussion. The next panelist is Ms. Sheetal Bhilkar. Ms. Sheetal Bhilkar is the director of Urja Building Services Consultants. They are the ACE MEP consultants, founder, director, and started this with a 3-month baby in her arms. That is something amazing, Sheetal. And they have taken UBSC as one of the leading MEP consultancy firms in India with 500 plus projects and 85 million square feet of work done worldwide. Wow. She has a wide experience in MEP design of high rises, townships, commercial buildings, retail malls, institutions, and urban design. I welcome all of you to this panel discussion, and I hope we bring out a great discussion on how we can fast track the fire safety situation in India. Let me start first with the officer among us, Harshni Kanhekar. Harshni ma'am, you are the first lady fire officer in India. How difficult was it for a lady to don the uniform for fire services today in India, and how different it is now?
Thank you, Kinari, for the question, and thank you, FSA, for inviting me here. And you will be surprised to know that it was not at all difficult for me, and you will surprised to know that only because of uniform thing I joined this college, and I was unaware of the fact that there's a gents college, National Fire Service College. So during my NCC time, it was my dream. It was become my dream to join uniform services and serve the nation. So I was trying for Army, Navy, and Air Force. And fortunately, I got to know about National Fire Service College that wo college mein uniform hai. So only for that uniform thing, I purchased that form and went to the college, and that was the big shocking news for me that it's completely gents college. And that was a little difficult time in starting, but it was my passion that floored me to complete this course. I studied in entirely gents college alone for 3.5 years. So that was a great journey, and it was always great pleasure for me to don that uniform. I must say, when I started wearing dangri, gumboot, and helmet and going to college, so people used to look at me and, "Ye ladki kaha ja rahi hai? She must be going for some what we say." For some fashion show or something like that. We wear some different dresses and going for the shows. Then that time they but after seeing me regularly going wearing that uniform and going to the college, they got to know that, oh, there is a fire college and she has taken admission and she has become the first girl. So it's always been very special for me.
How do you think it is now? How is it different now for the girls there?
Oh, yes, the things has changed. I took admission in 2002. Uh, and as I told you, it was a gents college. There was no criteria for girls for medical examination. When I passed that exam, I went there for my medicals, and everybody was surprised. The group of the board of doctors, they were so surprised. They used to call me, they used to ask me, "Harshni, it's a very difficult course. Will you do that?" And I used to answer, "Yes, sir, I'll do that. I'll definitely do it. I'll definitely do it." After that, after medical, there was interview, personal interview, and I got, I had gone to many questions, many question marks, many surprises that these girls have come to this college, they have passed this exam now. Do that. Every panelist was asking me the question, "Will you do that? Will you do that?" And I used to answer, "Yes, sir, give me a chance, I'll do it." And after, I must say, after 10 years of gap, the new criteria, this course came with new criteria. During my time, it was after BSc course. And since 2015, new criteria has come, and it is after 12 course. Now, after 12, after appearing for normal JEE exam, you can take admission to National Fire Service College. And yes, now many girls are there, and and it's a residential course, so we have to stay in a hostel, college hostel. But during my time, there was no girls, so there was no, as it's a rule, but there was no hostel. I got a special permission to stay at home and attend the college. But now, since 2015, new course has come, new girls are there, and girls hostels is there, and now the things are going smoothly.
Oh, that's amazing to hear that things have really improved and changed, and we can see many more female fire officers now.
Yes, yes.
Koyeli Dutt, besides being a very successful business person, you are also a chair for Surakshit Nari for FSCI. I would like you to tell our listeners more about this program, and also what do you intend to do further in future?
Hi, thanks for having me here. So the Surakshit Nari program was started in the year 2020 in October. And the objective is to incorporate more and more women into the leadership folds of FSAI and generally spread more and more awareness, and also, like, turn an eye towards the issues that women face as regards both security and safety in the country. So we are trying to do awareness programs such that people are aware more of what is required, what is the need of the hour for women's safety. We have had incidents like the Nirbhaya incident and several others. Every day you open the paper, there is some rape incident, some major housewife may be burned down. So these things we want to address so that more and more women learn self-defense. We are going to provide self-defense training. We are going to provide training for women to, home safety. So these are issues that all of us probably have a little bit more or less of, but we might not be aware. Like that, you will find many people in our industry, even amongst women, we have extinguishers at home but don't know how to operate. So we want to be able to provide that training so that more and more women are actually aware of, how to handle themselves in a fire in case of a sticky situation, and basically get the message out there that there are more people like us, and we can together, strongly, form a strong bond and actually make a difference. So in each state, we want to have representatives and gradually have a network of women who are there for each other. And also it's sort of like, peer groups which can be used to interact and, find out support, help, such things. At the same time, we are also inclined towards promoting more and more women joining this industry. We want to approach the government and make differences where women's safety is concerned. So for this, we feel no better speaker than a woman herself. So to that end, we want this group to grow and more women to take part in it and actually spread out the message of fire safety and security for women.
Thank you, Koyeli. Please, this is an appeal in a way that I would request to each and every female member who's attending this, and maybe the male can please promote this and help us in this cause, and ask more and more of the lady members to join hands and help us promote. Going to Ranjana ma'am. Ranjana ma'am, you have been a stalwart in this industry. You are one of the first women in this industry to be in the fire business. How difficult it was to run a successful organization, which was predominantly male-dominated fire industry, especially the industrial fire industry where you specialize.
Yeah, thank you, Kinnari, for your invite and also the opportunity given by FSCI to me. And yes, it has been a journey, I would say, where it has been, I'm well aware of the limitations as a female and in a male-dominated society, but I think I made my boundaries, my, what would you say, I had made a conscious ground rule that, I would be interacting more with the premier organization, and that way I navigated my company and myself through to projects and engineering divisions of the premier organization, the consultants, the public sector undertakings, and was interacting mainly with the engineering section, where in the beginning, and that has been my learning ground also, where the differences of any gender melted, because we were all focused on the highest level of engineering, the solutions, and finding, moving onwards from there, because that's how the plans are put up. And I think from complete novice, I did find my niche and have today established myself, and where people call me for various solutions or, advice, or, so it's a great feeling.
Kudos to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, over the years, India has progressed economically and technically. In fact, government is promoting manufacturing in India in a big way with the Make in India forum. Various industries have taken lead and they have made remarkable presence in the world market. We can say the pharma industry, IT industry. But our industry somehow hasn't achieved much progress when it comes to catering to the world requirement, even the domestic requirement. What, according to you, is the need of the hour? What is it that is to be seen and in future taken into consideration so that we have some kind of a standard, some kind of our own?
Yeah, our own is important, because we have been so far been following. Of course, I'm not saying we have to reinvent the wheel, but if you see that most of the countries like America, Europe, Australia, China, France, and most have their own in-country rules first. And thereafter they adapt. Of course, they adapt the standards from the NFPA. We are not saying not to adapt, but we could have a body which can, sufficiently say that India has got its own rules, which are, even if they are migrated from other, we take references of NFPA, but we have a rule. The dots have to be connected. There is no laboratory which are accredited to do the testing, which will recognize those rules and will also acknowledge that these can be used for the systems which are approved in India. BIS is not sufficiently equipped for a system integrator. They could be individually for extinguishers or individual product, but as a system integrator, we are finding it that we have to depend on all the international, and the mindset of the consultants and people is also to use only those imported the international standard, which is nothing is wrong about it, but still I think India can move forward when it becomes affordable. There can be a government subsidy in testing of, if people come forward. I think that would lead India to lead the market internationally also.
Correct. Agreed, ma'am. Appreciate the answer. Sheetal, ma'am, as an MEP consultant, in your opinion, what according to you are the design parameters you have included as a must, irrespective of the cost consideration, that will help ensuring safety of life and property?
First of all, thank you, Kinnari and FSAI, for having me here. So, as a MEP consultants, it becomes a big responsibility for us, to design fire safety, because ultimately, though our customer is developers or but we are designing system for the end user. So we always have to keep that in mind. So cost constraints are always there when you are designing, especially for developers. But as a consultants, we always see to it that selection of cables, wires are always FRLS, fire retardant, low smoke cables and wires are used. Nowadays, for high rises, we are in fact proposing bus ducts over the traditional cables, because when it comes to more number of cables in one shaft, suppose you have 80 flats in a high rise, in a one shaft you are taking 80 cables, so that's a big fire hazard. So instead of that, now we have started specifying bus ducts. So that's an excellent fire safety product, which is now we have made it must in our design. Then a standby supply for fire emergency load, which is always through a direct feeder. So this is also a must while we are designing. Then we are also specifying fire separation system for LT panels that suppresses fire at that end within the fraction of seconds. Then escape lighting, what we are proposing in all the projects, lightning protection, surge arrestor. Then even for firefighting systems above 70 meters above buildings, we are suggesting 2 zones for firefighting for better operations and maintenance. So all these things are must in our designing when we are designing. So though people come to us, developers or some developers have cost constraints, but in our design these all things are must, and we design of course according to NBC and fire NOCs, but these are the must in any design for any project which we are doing as a consultant. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Harshni, ma'am, you have been in ONGC for the last 15 years. How do you see the shift in the approach towards fire safety compared to what it was when you joined in 2006? Could you substantiate the measures which are taken by ONGC over the years?
Oh yes, before 15 or 16 years, I joined ONGC. That time, I joined at Mosan Arcade, that is the second biggest onshore asset of ONGC, and we produce oil and gas there. So it was that time, it was all protected by fire extinguishers, hydrants and pipelines and all that, all those things. Now, as the technology increases, we started taking our steps towards digitalization and automation kind of thing. Like we had, for example, we use fire tenders, fire vehicles. So we have put GPS system there. Now we can track our fire vehicles, their movements, if they find any problem to reaching to the fire spot. So we can monitor it through our mobile. So these are this kind of changes it has come due to automation and digitalization. Even for the maintenance of the equipments, we have done some contracts, and all digital contracts, so that for any regular maintenance, we get some notification in our mobile, so that we can remind it and we can proceed for the maintenance thing. So we should adopt this technology of digitalization and automation, and we are proceeding to that.
Thank you, ma'am. Ranjana ma'am, what would you think, in your opinion, are the new technologies and systems which can be used for improving the fire standards, the safety standards in any building?
Well, I would say overall we have to ease the implementation, which would mean that we use Victaulic fittings or groove fittings, we use wireless cabling, the reporting of all the changes that are made in interiors, and more answerable, the owners have to be answerable and have to have the information on their mobiles of what's going on behind the backs. Because I feel the reasons most of the people we are finding is that the audits are done by the fire officers and they're held totally responsible or for all the misdeeds that happen without which go unrecorded. So if I'm the wireless system, the GPS, even there is a mapping on the future predictions of the failures that can happen if you do the hotspots by infrared, or you can do it through satellites. There can be a GPS put in place. So there is a real situations of, the premises like hospitals, the buildings, the hotels, the societies can be on a hand, the information can be available.
Okay. Okay, sure. Thank you. Koyeli, as a contractor, you have been a contractor for so many years. How important do you feel is the need of a trained team to execute a project? What are the common myths of the clients when it comes to appointment of a contractor of a project? And how challenging it becomes then?
See, trained manpower, I think, as in any field, it is as important in ours. We need to have experienced people who are trained in what they have to do. So the myth that we face is typically all clients think all fire protection is only about plumbing. So the entry barrier is assumed to be, as I'm not undermining plumbing as a job per se, but if you equate it only to that and you're not aware of the codes that are required to be followed, then you will not effectively get a working fire protection system. So I think we need to overcome. We need to explain to our clients and make them aware that when they buy fire protection systems, there is a certain level of knowledge and expertise that is required. And we, at our end, we installers should also responsibly take people with experience and deliver what we are actually supposed to deliver. So there is some specific knowledge which we need to gather, and I think our manpower needs to get sufficient training in that. We also need to translate what we put in on design on paper. That needs to be translated in actual execution, in installation. Very often what we do on paper at site when we are doing an installation, there'll be a lot of hurdles. There'll be other things coming in the way. So in those cases, we need to make changes. So the person at site needs to be knowledgeable to make changes which are effective, but which does not, affect the performance of our systems. So standing up for our system and making sure that gets as much weightage as any other system, always aesthetics takes over fire protection. Like, it is more important, the look of the room should be good, instead of considering that the fire protection is as important, if not more. So these changes, whatever comes up from design to execution, our team members should be able to actually, take effective decisions. Then sometimes, like in industrial installations, a lot of times what happens, you do smoke detector placement, and on drawings, it is a very neat grid. There is nothing to worry about. When you actually install, there are ducts coming in places. So what happens is oftentimes smoke detectors will end up being placed in wrong places or not with adequate placement, distances. So these issues need to be taken care of. Sprinkler placement, often just to suit room design, it is sent somewhere else, but that is not serving the purpose. So these things need to be taken care of, and it is only trained people who can actually take a decision on whether what is being suggested by the client or the consultant, whether that is adequate or not. The system will only be as good as the installation that has been made. If the installation is wrong, then the system will not perform as it is supposed to perform. Now, I feel there are more and more institutes. I mean, Harshni ma'am is an example herself. So more and more institutes which are providing training, and if more and more people actually take training from these institutes, I mean, the basic mechanical engineering, basic electrical engineering goes a long way for our field. But that focused training of our subject, that I think would be very effective in getting trained manpower, and I think that is the need of the day.
Can I add that maybe
Yes.
like in Mumbai, we have the Maharashtra Fire Services organization, which is giving accredited agencies some kind of a license. A similar thing can be pan-India, where it can be mandatory for people to have the trained manpower or somebody to monitor that they're actually keeping these kind of people in there. So
right, that I think is absolutely essential, because a lot of times people who are executing these jobs are really not probably qualified to do it. So some kind of a check where the companies who are doing this work are knowledgeable or have a license, so that it is ensured that they have people on their team who are actually cut out to do this job.
Yeah, they'll be conscious
Yes.
to maintain the license, that they do a proper job.
True, very
yes.
true.
Certain
Yes.
qualification is very important.
Thank you. Thank you. Sheetal ma'am, would you like to discuss some design requirements which needs to be relooked, especially when we are talking about addressing of tall buildings? Ranjana ma'am had earlier mentioned about it also, that some changes are required, some new things have to come in. What do you feel are the parameters which can fast track safety and prevent events like the Avigna one which happened in Mumbai some few months back?
So that's very good question, Kinnari. Actually, like you said, we really have to fast track fire safety. Like if you see fire NOC many times talks about conventional fire detection system. In a tall buildings, if you give a conventional uh, fire detection system, then it becomes difficult to trace where exactly is the source of fire, because what is happening inside flats also, smoke detection is not given. So to fast track, we have to shift to addressable fire detection system, where you give the addressable fire system, and inside the flat also you are giving smoke detection, and then you give a zone module and create zones for each flat. If otherwise, what is happening, as per fire NOC, contractors are completing work, developers are handing over the projects, but then it goes to renovation and everything, and then people are changing the positions of distribution boards, cable joints are put for while they are doing renovations. So all these problems comes later on. So I think addressable fire detection can be done. There can you can have a line detectors in cable shafts which can detect the fires in cable shaft in a immediate way. Then even in like I said earlier, in electrical panels you can have the fire suppression system, so that in fraction of seconds the fire is suppressed. There are latest technologies like video analytics. So in that you are real time you can detect the fire, so there are so many technologies available. With that you can actually fast track fire detection or fire safety. But more than that, I feel central monitoring is required, especially in tall buildings. If many developers are not going for BMS system, so there is no monitoring happening after everything is installed. So there is a lot of integration required. Fire PA integration is there, and so many alerts and alarms are needed. So it's required to do all the central monitoring systems also in tall buildings. So all these things, if when you do, then only you can fast track fire safety. And at the same time, all the residents, they should be aware about fire safety products. Now as per fire NOCs above 70 meters, sprinklers are mandatory inside the flats also. So while doing renovations and all, they should not try to shift the positions and all those things. Even smoke detectors are, if they are installed, they should not try to change the positions or make some changes. So all these things, annual audits and all this things should happen at the flat level also. Right now everything is happening at the common area levels only. So all these things are required to fast track fire safety. Unless we don't do all these changes, it will Avigna kind of fires will keep on happening.
Ranjana ma'am, what do you think? Do you think with all these changes, what Sheetal ma'am has suggested, that some kind of a regulation should be coming in for the tall buildings, where we have more monitoring of the systems, functionality of the systems or something?
Yeah, as I said, earlier also, there should be a futuristic planning to fast track. And the first is to have a hotspot tracking. There should be something out of the box. What we've known is, okay, training the manpower, the peeling, these are the basics requirements where we can avert any situation. But once it happens, it shouldn't come to that stage, first of all. So when we have invested such high value properties, can be satellite monitored for hotspots, can be GPS tracked, can have a CAF system, which is also another good system, which should be for these high-rise buildings to ensure they can be planted there or they can be brought by fire brigade. But these CAF is the only solution which will have the water really going up to that kind of height and make sure that it's available. It's not zone, not that people will reach the first zone or the second zone of the building before it happens. So I think these would be one of the things I would suggest for people to implement. And of course, the owner must be having a full track of what's going on everywhere in these properties.
So awareness and
answerability, basic
answerability, yes,
is
yes,
important.
Yes. Agreed. Harshni ma'am, you were also saying the same thing about digitalizations and having things in such a way that it can be monitored online all the time. What do you think maintenance of an install system is, how important it is, and what in your opinion should be the things, improvements to be taken care for the maintenance of any kind of a building, be it a commercial building or a factory or a residential building, whichever?
Yes. First of all, I'll think as a fire officer, as a firefighter.
Yes.
As a firefighter, I should ensure sufficient amount of equipments are available or not as per guidelines, as per statutory guidelines and other standards. Like NBC for residential buildings, we follow NBC. For offshore, we follow NFPA. For onshore, we follow OSD and all. Our equipment should be as per the guidelines. Second point, I would say audits. As Sheetal ma'am said, audits, regular audit should be there. Like if we do any renovation, the fire load is increased or not, what kind of the new equipments or new furniture or anything else, new fire load is included or not. This kind of thing should be addressed somewhere. Then, as Sheetal ma'am said, rightly said, it should be on flat level only. We should more focus on passive fire extinguishing media than active. Like fire detection and sprinkler system. These are passive system, and we should focus on more on passive system than active systems. And as I said, it should be in today's era of automation and digitalization. Everything now, there are many apps that we can monitor our equipments, and their when the calibration of the gauges is due, we can get in messages only. So we should follow this. We should adopt this technology. And if everything goes fail, we should follow all the mock drills. We should carry out mock drills regularly. We should involve children into mock drills, and we should discuss case studies and the solutions for any kind of fires which are discussed in this case studies. So I think these points should be followed.
Thank you. Koyeli, with your experience, could you please enumerate the kind of measures we can take to fast track the fire installations in the sites? Some new technology which can which will make it easier and it can be implemented with more effectively.
Like you said, I mean, a lot of technology could probably come into fire protection than is already there. In fire detection, I think a lot of progress has been made. So now we have all this IP-based and with the addressable systems and all, the communication is easily available. So remote monitoring, remote communication, I mean, commissioning, during commissioning, remotely, it is very easy to commission a system. So a lot of time is saved, I think, in also, like, I mean, during the commissioning, the installation, this fire alarm panel itself is diagnosing a lot of the issues. So the commissioning process is much faster than it would be in a conventional system. Similarly, if we were to use like ULFM based pumps and the controller would be, communicating, diagnosis is a lot easier. So these things, then we are now gradually using a lot of skid mounted deluge valves or alarm valves. So those make it easier. If we can have prefabrication of pipes for particular equipment, but all of these issues have, like, I mean, some other problem, like, I mean, when we do prefabrication, a lot of times the drawings available when we are doing the engineering isn't altogether accurate. So a lot of modification is required at site. So the level of detail that is available at the design stage, if it can be enhanced, and the work then would be much faster. Then modeling, if we can use modeling to find out interferences, so that like if we can do 3D modeling and actually the layout of pipes can be done prior to site installation, then maybe the sending of materials becomes much easier. What the actual BOQ, working out the BOQ, having what is actually required at hand prior to actually going in for installation. These things can be useful. Then maybe incorporating advanced construction features which are coming up. I mean, I don't know, precast concrete and things like that. The more we are able to incorporate these things into our systems, I think the work would be getting faster. Then like BlazeMaster, the CPVC pipes and all, if we can use those, the fittings and everything, they come built in with that, and it would be a lot easier to install. Groove fittings like Ranjana mentioned. But there again, we have been facing problems like earlier at one point of time when we were trying to use those, we found that when a site is remote, availability of material becomes a problem. But over time, I think a lot of these are getting incorporated and getting a lot simpler. Like I remember when addressable systems first started coming in, we never thought they would be used quite as much as they are now. One, we thought prices were prohibitive. We thought that, I mean, that technology change would not happen. But now that is the norm rather than the, exception. Conventional systems are passé. I mean, because we have understood the value of the addressable systems. So going forward, as we understand the value of the technology that we are incorporating, I think these will be, we will probably, accept them and incorporate them into our systems. Some other things that I find is like, I mean, changing of specifications. Specifications are not updated to the current market availabilities. Then we have things like, lists of approved vendors, which are ages ago. And in this day of mergers and acquisitions, constantly names are changing. This company is now owned by that, and so on and so forth. After actually getting an order, we find we are spending a lot of time in needless paperwork. So if this process could become simpler, I think we would be getting to the end system installation much faster than, what is currently happening. The last but not the least, I think one of the key issues that we face nowadays is that in much of the cases, fire protection systems are ordered by an EPC contractor and not by the end user. So what is happening is there's a longer time gap in approvals, we're not even getting the kind of quality that should really be there. It all becomes only about price. And if that were removed and directly an end user were to order the safety systems, I think we would do it faster, do it better, and the quality of the system would be much better.
Yeah, but there is a bit of psychosis with the clients that, they may be
taken for a ride.
Not competent, yeah.
How do you do it? How do you get that confidence in them that the contractor
that is
actually
where the licensing and the monitoring and the correct way to establish it is, having these accredited agencies who are actually, then you cross that hurdle of having to establish that you are in a. So I think that would help a lot for the client to know that otherwise you lose your license if you don't do a right job. I think that it should come to that degree.
I think involvement of a third-party agency in both accreditation of contractors and maybe even like finally, passing
NOC
the fire,
yes.
I mean, granting of the NOC and everything.
Yes.
If a third-party agency were involved, I think the whole process would be far better.
Okay, noted. Lastly, Sheetal, what do you think about all these new technology and new things that they are saying to make the installations faster? You think the client will be looking at that even if the costs are going up to put it as a part of your design?
It's difficult but not impossible. We as a consultant always try to give new technologies, explain clients to go for new technology. So definitely we keep on updating our clients with whatever new technologies are available in market, and from our end we always try to push good technologies which can fast track this fire safety. But definitely ultimate decision is client's decision, because they are the ones who are going to pay for that. But from our side we are constantly doing that. And I have seen today, nowadays lot of developers are keen about all this fire safety and all these matters. And many young generations have taken over as a developers, and they understand technology. So nowadays it is becoming little easier for us, for them to explain about new technologies. And
I think the client consciousness is also much more. Like earlier, I don't think people were so concerned about fire safety, but I think now it is one of the first questions people ask.
True.
In
People
tall
are
buildings, I
understanding
mean,
it.
you
Yes.
cannot afford to ignore it.
Yeah, but then definitely we have to explain them with price factor only. But yes, ultimately they take decision. But I have seen a lot of improvement last few years. People
What
are
about
technology
water mist
conscious, and they are taking this fire safety more seriously than earlier.
Yeah, Sheetal, what about the water mist system in your buildings? Are you incorporating this also instead of sprinklers?
Yeah, definitely.
Because that is the need of, saving the
Sure.
water, its availability, its localization.
Yes, we are recommending water mist systems also in our projects.
Harshini ma'am.
Yes, I wanted to add this. Yes, ma'am. Yes, please.
Yes. I wanted to just ask you, what would you like to add to this whole thing? You have
Yes,
some.
I wanted to add that in this era of technology, we should not forget about environment at all. We should look after about what global warming is going on. And as Madam said, they are
Absolutely.
opting for water mist system to save water. So this is a big thing. This is a big step towards environment saving. So we should not, we have phased out all our halon systems, which was very dangerous for our environment, and it is in phasing out state. And we are using all alternatives of halon like FM200, Novec 1230 and all. So we should take care of our environment for our future generations.
True. So totally, to summarize this whole panel discussion is going very interesting, but I have my time restrictions. I need to close this. I'm thanking all of you. It has been a very interesting discussion, and I'm really thankful for all the inputs that you people have given. To summarize this, I think basically safety or security of any property or a person is all depends on your own self, where how much do you want to cultivate it as a part of your life, how much do you want to ensure that you and your dear ones, more than the property is of important, but more than that it is the lives, as Dr. Keswani showed us that the repercussions are so bad. So it is better to be safe than sorry, as we always say. So awareness and awareness is in general most important, be it a customer who is in getting the systems installed, be it the users or the people who are going to be occupying that building, where they need to be aware of how healthy the systems need to be, so that their lives are not at risk. Thank you so much, all of you. And I would like to now go to the Q&A. There are some few questions which have come up here. Let me just see which are the ones here. There is one question from Mr. Girish Yadav. He wants to know about the upcoming regulations for the use of the AFF in fire extinguishing as a fire extinguishing media. Who would like to take up this thing? Ranjana madam, would you like to take up the question?
Sorry, I didn't hear. Yeah, it's basically the foam system, right? The
Yes,
foam.
water in the
Yeah,
foam. Yes.
water and foam, there is a definite shift towards the CAF, the compressed air foam extinguishers also, which I think are absolutely essential for various fires. We are testing now for electrical fires. We are testing for various, and compressed air foam system has got its potential usage.
Yes. Oh, AFFF is बहुत लंबा चलने वाले सर इंडिया में, अब तक कोई इसका फेज आउट होने का तो नहीं है.
Yes, no, it has
So
to
we
be
are
used,
using
yeah.
it in AFFF aqueous film forming foam 3% and 6% we are using in our petrochemical industry hydrocarbon fires के लिए. So it is useful, so it is not going to fail.
Okay. There is one more question from the same gentleman. What are the alternatives to AFF for solvent fire protection and mitigation?
I think that's a related question anyway.
I agree. I think Arun Kohli is asking, should there not be more focus on the detection of fire and not, and what are the options? Koyeli, would you like to take that?
Yes, there should be more concentration
Harsh.
on detection. There should be more concentration on passive system than active system. If your passive system is working strong, there will be no use of your extinguisher. So there should be more and more focus on detection system.
Koyeli, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, passive fire protection, I think it has been quite neglected. If that comes in and is implemented more as per the NBC codes also, I think it will make a huge difference. And so far as detection, yes, it is the first tool in finally, actually, for us to take any action, detection is imperative. And I think it is one of the more simple systems to install than like fire protection, the kind of space it takes and everything. For monitoring, fire detection is absolutely imperative. And I think we, when we are doing a system, fire detection is like quite a key feature. I think almost all systems everywhere, we are incorporating a fire detection system. Now in residential buildings, I'm not sure like whether in amongst flat owners, I mean, whether they are actually installing smoke detectors or not, but that should be made mandatory.
Sheetal ma'am, would you like to answer to that?
Yeah, definitely. I have already covered this in my discussion. We should make it mandatory to use of heat detectors and smoke detectors inside the flats also. So that is, I think, this is high time we should make it mandatory.
I would like to add here.
Yes, I would like to add to Sheetal ma'am. It should not be restricted to floor height level. It should be on every floor.
Yeah, but also one could have a wireless systems where the steam, or there are special detectors which can for residential also can be used, where the steam or this thing does not affect the detector. So I think that is the major concern. And also the, shifting of the detector in a wireless is far easier. It can be remotely onto a panel and easily usable.
But do we have that many wireless options? I mean, abroad we get those battery operated smoke detectors.
Not just battery op, there are special ones which are for railways, and the similar ones can be used in high-rise buildings where it's because smoke detector by themselves, I don't think people want to go because they have a lot of smoke in our cooking. We have a lot of steam or smoke in the house for some reason. And for that reason, there are detectors now which are for, like in railways where you have dust, you have smoke, you don't have air conditions always, you can have open windows, but still you can have detectors which can avoid these, can be installed in this atmosphere?
Sheetal ma'am, there is a question which has come after your suggestions on the sprinkler inside the house, where someone has asked, Mr. Prashant Kamat to be precise, has asked, while drain points are provided in common areas for buildings, how do you check sprinkler provided in the individual flats? We can't hear you. You're on mute.
Yeah. So while drain pipes are provided, okay.
How's drain?
I'm not getting this question. While drain pipes are provided in common areas, definitely sprinklers can be
I think what they
checked
mean
in.
is that how do you keep a check of the sprinklers inside of, I don't know if.
Drainage of water in the flat. Probably that's what he means.
Yes, I think that is what he means.
That's why I think water mist is the right solution for the less damage and effective.
Definitely, but then
Cost.
cost comes into picture, and as per fire NOCs nowadays, sprinklers above 45 meters of building, they are mandatory inside the flat also, so that we will have to give.
Yeah, but
also water mist nozzles are open type nozzles, right? So I mean, if you put an entire flat under a water mist system, I mean, the entire flat will have, in case of a fire in one room, you'd end up operating the system in the entire flat.
It can be zonalized.
How do you cover that?
Yeah.
There are many more questions coming in. I don't think we have much time for more questions like this. There is one question which has come: how is a fire sense fume, gas, temperature, optical, UV cameras? It's a very basic question on how do you sense fire?
All of the above types.
I think I will end this complete show. I think we've mostly answered to most of the Q&A questions, and we are really running out of time.
I agree with what Mr. Krishna Kumar has written, that, yeah, they don't even install extinguishers. Yes, I mean, this is an uphill task that all of us in fire protection face. I think we have to keep on struggling. And
we have to keep doing programs like this so that we are more and more asking and voicing our concerns and opinions to people, and people listen more to us. I think that's the only way. Awareness is the.
As long as the government keeps mandating more and more, I think somewhere along the way we will strike a balance.
Yes. So with that positive note, I would like to end this.
I think the ladies can push it far better.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you so
enjoyable
much.
session with you.
Thank you.
Parag, I would like to hand over the show to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to give a thank you note on this. This was a really power-packed, I would say, first of the kind women panel discussion done in FSCI on fast-tracking fire safety in India. I really thank each and every panel member over here, Kinnari ma'am, Sheetal ma'am, Koyeli ma'am, Ranjana ma'am, and our first lady fire officer, Harshni ma'am. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time and for this panel discussion. I would like to thank our keynote speaker today, doctor, who took time and gave us a lot of eye openers on the consequences of what happens when a fire burn happens, and also with an assurity that it can be treated. One is what we try to do is we can avoid it, but he also assured that it can be treated if handled well. Last but not the least, I would like to thank BlazeMaster Masterclass. This is the third series, and I see it as one of the most successful series. And stay tuned for two important announcements. We are continuing this series, and we have the final series coming in very soon. And second important information, today's quiz winners will be contacted by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and we will be highlighting the quiz winners. So with this, I thank you everyone for giving your valuable time, and signing off for today.